You're watching UPfront on the Joy News channel. I am Blessed Sogah. The National Peace Council has identified a worrying trend in senior high schools across the country. Is violence erupting on major campuses across the country? Is the reason for which the Peace Council is calling for immediate measures and is alarmed at the numbers. In just last week alone, as many as 6 cases were recorded on campus. Extreme cases, even in some cases, there are reports of rape happening during inter-school competitions. And I just want to get to that statement for you, released by the National Peace Council, as you have on your screens now, pointing to the fact that the National Peace Council is taking notice of this trend of violence across many campuses across the country. Here's what I want to highlight, because the Peace Council is indicating that although the Ghana Education Service has condemned these incidents and promising to take disciplinary action against perpetrators, the National Peace Council is adding its voice to that of the Ministry of Education and the directive to the GES to fast-track investigations into these cases that we're learning of. Beyond the efforts of the Ghana Police Service in arresting most of the culprits, the Peace Council is equally calling for improved security on school campuses during sporting events, because that's where the latest incidents of this alleged rape happened, gang rape, we understand. And the council is also calling for a strengthened counseling services to address some of the underlying issues of indiscipline in our schools. Beyond that, the Peace Council is equally now making an appeal for the active involvement of parents. They want guardians to also be involved in promoting greater discipline, tolerance, and respect for diversity in our schools. So the council basically is just making the point that they're committed to continuing some level of sensitization of peace, tolerance, and non-violence means of seeking redress on campuses across the country. And they are treating the Ghana Education Service together with other stakeholders in this very sector to strengthen discipline and to develop policies to make schools sanctuaries of learning and harmony. Well, one of these stakeholders obviously will be the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition, which says it is equally alarmed at what's happening across the country. And it's the reason for which I have some of the leading members of that campaign coalition joining us in studio. Benes Imperi Jechi is National Coordinator of the campaign. Good evening to you and welcome. And we also have Charles Aheto Chega, who also, aside being a leading member of this campaign, is a former director of the Ghana Education Service himself. So he knows about some of these cases. They do happen sometimes, except that it's now extreme on campuses across the country. That's why we're having this conversation. Feel free, if you're a parent listening to us, to send us feedback on what you think about some of the measures that the campaign coalition will be raising tonight. And then we'll get to hear from the National Peace Council. Charles, not a good time to be having you and Benes in studio. So let me start off with you, because you've dealt with some of these cases before, but has it been that extreme where even in these cases now, of late, we're hearing of a gang rape? Just for inter-schools competition? Why is that happening? Yeah,
well, thank you very much. It looks like, if you look through the development of the senior high school, the secondary education in this country, you see that some of these events are not particularly new. But the surprise, and in those days, I mean, they were not as brutal as they are happening now. We know there were a few selected schools who were really known to have that level of brutality as we are seeing it now. But a lot of times, these schools were brought to the levels, and then there was sanity. But this time, it looks like, I will call it an epidemic, you know, which the students find joy in doing something outrageous, you know, so that they would also be seen, some kind of a bravado behavior which is beginning to emerge. And so you begin to wonder what is causing this kind of trend these days.
Maybe I could guess one. The fact that there's no corporal punishment in schools again. We're not whipping, excuse me to use the word, the hell out of these students now.
Well, that's true, maybe on a certain part. But you see, we are evolving as a nation, and so our actions to our learners should also evolve. And corporal punishment is, for me, not the ultimate type of punishment.
It's not a big issue to you, is it?
It's not an ultimate kind of punishment to give to a student.
Because look at this. Look at what's happening on the screens now.
Yeah.
Students wouldn't be doing this if we're whipping them.
No, they would.
I know a lot of parents and some people come at me for this. But
They would. Mm-hmm. But again, it's also up to us to be able to put certain stops in the students' way in terms of these kinds of situations. And I say that for me, it's I can give you an example of a school, and sometimes I want to slightly blame the headmasters. Yeah. I say that, look, I mean, headmasters, what are you doing? I mean, you have seen all of these things. I mean, these are different areas in Ghana where it has happened. So in seeing this, all students are troublesome. So why can't you immediately say that, oh, I see, this is what is happening, this is what is happening, so this is what I'll do when it gets to my turn. I'll do this and that and that and that. And I can give you a particular place, even in the central region, where in their football matches, students in the same zone misbehaved. So for this year's zonal, which they have already finished, and nobody heard of that particular zone, because the headmaster and the sports committee agreed that no supporters. And this is all because of supporters. They are not the athletes who are misbehaving, it's the supporters. So we said no supporters in the schools. No supporters. The school, which is the center for the activity, will provide the support for every school. And that is it. And nobody heard about them. Right. So headmasters should be proactive in terms of some of the decisions they have to take, even though it might be unpleasant for some of the students who think that, oh, this is a time for us to enjoy our space. No, you go and misbehave. You cannot stay in school.
Benis, tell me about this trend we're seeing and where you identify the problem to be coming from. Well, I'm just guessing with the issue I raised about corporal punishment, but is there a bigger challenge? Are there some factors we're not looking at as to what is accounting for this?
Yeah, we are not looking at maybe some key issues that are bringing this violence among the students.
Right.
One, we have seen that discipline of children has become a challenge right from the home. That is why, even though we have taken corporal punishment, if you offer any form of discipline to a child and the parent is able to come to the school to fight the authorities of the school. But one thing I was saying that several teachers have complained about this. But in the school, like Mr. Chaga is saying, the headmistress, what are they doing? Before a parent gets access to a teacher in the school, the parent should go through the right channel. A teacher should not just walk and meet a teacher in a class or on the school compound and then harass the teacher. That process should be there. And once that process is there, then it means that the head has a kind of authority over the student while the child is in school. So if we have taken corporal punishment, it doesn't mean that we should leave the students unpunished or not disciplined. It's one of the challenges we are having. Teachers and heads think that once they say we should not cane the children, then the other form of discipline has also been covered. So the child thinks that when I do something, I can go scot-free. So there is nothing to serve as a deterrent to other students to stop them from misbehaving or engaging in violent acts.
And what's worrying to me is that this is also affecting young girls in schools. That sad incident we heard of in the Eastern region where a young girl was even raped. Of course, I recall speaking to the Deputy Minister for Education. He's condemned it, but this little girl will live with the effect of that for a long time to come. What kind of support do we extend to these individuals, for instance, the young girl involved?
Yeah, the young girl needs a lot of support from other stakeholders, the parents especially. She needs a clinical psychologist. She has to be counseled, and then the medical team would have to really observe her and provide her with all the treatment that she needs so that she can get away with whatever trauma she's going through. It will not be easy, though, but those who did the act must be punished because apart from the disciplinary acts we have in the school, we have the laws of the land that are supposed to deal with some of this issue. And sexual violence is one of the things we wish it would be zero.
Right.
All of us should speak for zero tolerance of sexual assault on girls, boys, whichever means, it should not be mentioned among us. So once it has happened, one, the child should be given all the support, but we should make sure that the law deals with those who did the act. And this time around, nobody should come in like, oh, he's my child, I know him, let's release it, let's pay this. No. And then it should come out that those who did that has been punished, and the punishment is known to everybody. Even though if this child is giving all the support that she needs, it will take a long time. The stigma, even that will be around her for some time, it's a big challenge. So we should not take it for granted.
Clearly, this is against the law, and I'm just wondering what's going through the mind of these young ones. I mean, why would you do that? But when that comes up, Charles, then we have the challenge of the law and the age of the individuals involved. When it's about GES, we're talking about minors mostly. So we're not able to jail them, fully prosecute them. It becomes quite a nuanced case.
Yeah, it's
so how do we deal with that?
It's a dicey situation, but
because the law ought to work.
Yes, the law ought to work.
Yeah.
So, and I'm happy that the CID boss has demonstrated that the law will work. You know, and I'm happy about the action she took in the case of the what do you call the Obrachre area
school.
Now, so it's like this. There are a certain extent in which we deal with student misbehavior in school. Those are very normal, everyday misdemeanors, right? But there is a line between the misdemeanor and the criminal act. So the moment an act becomes criminal, it gets out of the hands of the headmasters into a different state altogether. And we should allow it to enter the place. Parents should begin to see that if your child goes to steal, and stealing is criminal offense, the child will just be taken to the police station, go and deal with the police people, and don't come to the school to disturb us with dealing with other small things about a student getting angry with somebody. So it's important that we all accept the fact that, I mean, the schools are a place of sanctity, a protection, you know, for the young children to grow. But when you commit a criminal act, you will be handed to the police, and you parents, you can go and deal with the police instead of coming to harass the headmaster. You know, so for me, those things must actually work, and I'm very happy about the action the CID boss has taken, and I really salute her on that.
But we're assured that there'll be interventions. Sometimes even from headmasters, they would come in and want to be the ones to resolve the situation.
Yes, you see, and that comes to our own Ghanaian nature. Then you see, because we do not allow laws to work. We are always ready to intervene because we think that something can stop something every time. If it is not a word or two, then it is the other thing, you know. But we should not be a people who would sit down and say, oh, we set the laws, we are happy with the laws. Now, when it comes to enforcing the law, then we ourselves come back and say, oh, but you see, you could have done this peacefully, generally, and then allow the little boy or girl to do whatever, you know. I think we must be very firm in enforcing the law.
But the courts of the Ghana Education Service, how much of a burden or responsibility does the head teacher carry?
Oh, he has.
In some of these cases that we're reporting, because so far, I've not seen GES fire, quote unquote, any head teacher as of now.
Yes, because the actions cannot be attributed to the head teacher.
Oh, so they go scot-free.
So they don't go scot-free. They have a responsibility to ensure that there's a lot of discipline in the school. So you take care of all of those things. And I want to see a situation where the headmasters will be leading in terms of explaining how these things emerged and the confusion erupted. And I'm very certain that every single individual, by way of a student who took part, can be brought to book. So this is the time that the heads will have to play their role. Ensure that every single child is brought to book and punished for that matter. And the punishment must be very, very clear for all the parents to appreciate.
6 cases in just a space of a week. And from the videos that we see, do you see that the head teachers are overwhelmed? Maybe there are too many students on campus now, the free SHS.
Well, yes, there are too many students. But then again, I mean...
Are the teachers overwhelmed?
Well, there is an issue around the teachers' own issues about their lack of involvement in terms of the school's activities by making it a bit difficult for them to be able to do certain things. Just as Benny said, I mean, you take an action against a child, and then immediately you have parents beginning to do a number of things, going above the school, talking to, let's say, the director general or the deputy or some other big person to whom the headmaster will have to defer, and then so many things will happen, and it creates a lot of confusion. So there are a lot of interferences in the process, and we should do away with the interferences and allow the heads to exert their authority in the schools.
Okay, you know what, Benis, I'll come to you because the conversation around head teachers is not off the table. I want to hear what you have to say about the head teachers. Let's bring in the National Peace Council, because they issued a statement that I was pointing to earlier, asking stakeholders like GNEC and the others to act. But they equally want the Ghana Police Service to intervene. Dr. George Amo is joining us. He's Executive Secretary of the Council. Good to be speaking to you, Doc, at this time. You're worried about 6 cases. You even feel that there's no harmony on campus. And so schools and, of course, by extension, GES and all other stakeholders ought to work to promote that. Why are you worried about what's happening now?
Yes, thank you very much, my brother, Blessed. And good evening to my co-panelists. I think what is happening gives anybody who has love for our country, Ghana, and its future, a lot of concern, looking into the future, because these are the children who are going to take over from us in the next 5, 10, 15 years. So we are worried. And if you understand the cause of conflicts and the kind of violence that erupts in societies, then looking at what is happening now within our school environment and even outside the schools, because, Kaswa experienced something which was outside the school environment, you'll be worried. And that is why, as a peace institution, we thought we should bring awareness to what is happening and draw attention to those who can do something about it now, to do something about it before we live to regret later in our lives. That is why we issued a statement.
Yeah, have you been doing your own checks as to what's influencing this kind of violence that we're seeing on campus? Is it solely from within school communities or intra-school communities, or it's the case that there's some external influence now coming through on campus?
Yeah, Blessed. You see, what is happening is a symptom of a dysfunctioning, socialization of our children. Values have broken down. Families which some time ago were holding children together do not see that as a responsibility again. Parents get up early morning and leave their children to go to school by themselves. Indeed, when I am driving from home to work, almost every day I feel very disturbed seeing children who are holding children to school. So virtually, values that were binding our families together and helping build the children we want to see in our adults, we are losing them very fast. If you go to domestic violence and victim support units at the police service, you come across quite a number of cases of domestic violence. Children are observing the way their parents are hurting each other. And these things, they carry them to schools. So that is a key cause of what we see today in our schools. There is breakdown of values in our families. Parents are no longer taking responsibility of taking care of their children. And I'm blessed. The other side is that we are also having teachers. We shouldn't only blame the side of the children, but we are also having teachers, some of whom, unfortunately, do not have the values to inculcate in these young ones that are coming. we have come across situations where teachers who are supposed to impart values of integrity, of rightness in these children, doing the things that, I mean, you would not expect them to do.
Yeah.
So I think we have to also look at the way we produce our teachers who are going to serve as models for these children in the school room.
Okay,
let me also say this.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. You see, the other thing that is really helping, let me say, not helping our children, develop the right kind of attitude and character traits, is also the fact that, you see, the unfettered access to social media and foreign, cultures are also contributing. At the click of the button, a child is able to access information without any restrictions from anywhere in the world. So they are learning cultures that are alien, and those who have learned it, who have used over the years, they know how to use them. For these, our children, they are using them probably without any information about how to use it.
Yeah, I see.
And therefore creating this problem we have.
I was just going to go into the cases that we've learnt of just last week. 6 cases in all you've taken notice of. And in these cases, you are asking the Ghana Police Service to act. The GES is also doing its own investigations. Where do we shift the burden of responsibility? I mean, to execute these investigations, thorough ones that you're asking for?
For the police, we think that there's need to increase security in our school environments. So, for example, when school games, or what we call the interco,
of course, that point is quite well made. Dr. George Amo, probably you want to reposition yourself and come through with some of the more interesting points that you're raising there. But Benes, even the point he was raising about social media brings up the issue of phones, mobile phones in schools. That's a whole policy matter. I was going to ask you about head teachers, but you can tie that in. Head teachers and the mobile phones. Should we be banning phones on campus now?
Yeah, so one, with the headmasters.
Yes.
I think that we would call them to action, because once the students are in school, we know that they are safe with them, and they have all the responsibilities to ensure that the children are safe once they are in school. So they need to put in other measures that can prevent this violence. If not at all, it should be at the minimal level.
Yeah.
I recall that I have a child in school. I was supposed to send some medicine to the child. And the processes and the protocol, I went the first time, I couldn't deliver the drug. I have to go another time because it wasn't visiting hours. The child is in school. So it tells me that, yes, my child is safe in the school. So other headmasters should also ensure that once the children are in their care, they are safe. Gone were the days where the role of even house mistresses and how they take care of their children in their various dormitories. It prevents a whole lot of things. So what is happening that now we are not able to get that kind of. And then also in the school. Now, things are not the way it used to be. We say we have these Gen Z children. So the way of counseling, the way of listening to them, some of them have bottled a lot of issues that they have not been heard. So the counseling unit in the school should be strengthened. We had a meeting, GES was present. They said they were piloting a system where they will put a full-time counselor in the school. That will be a non-teaching staff who will also form a counseling committee so that they can address issues of students before it escalates and become wide and they go out, they are not able to suppress their emotions and all that, then it turns into this violence. So with Ghana Education Service, they should speed up with that process so that every school would have a very functioning counseling unit that would address the needs of this
You don't think we should be taking the phones away from them?
Yes, the phones should not, I don't think the phone should be in school. The phone, they should ensure that the children do not have the phone in school, because the phone is doing more harm to them. Now, we distributed tablets to the students to use to learn. From the beginning of this policy, we were made to understand that the phone will be programmed in a way that children cannot use social media, but purposely for academic and research. But how come we have the minister also saying that children are using the tablet to watch pornographics? And so, did we just give the tablet to the student to use it anyhow, apart from the academic
now they're downloading their own
purposes,
apps onto the
which is uncalled for. So if that is the situation, then we are saying as a coalition that they should require all the tablets, program it in such a way that the students cannot use it for those at least when they are in school. When they go home and parents are not able to control and they want them to use it for other things, that is fine. But in the school system, the systems, the rules, everything should work. The headmaster leading, teachers also called to order, and then the children also being cancelled. Last thing I will add to this is that we need a lot of support. The headmaster alone cannot do, the teachers, we need a lot of support. Old students have been doing a lot for the senior high schools. They build the dormitories, they build the assembly halls, and then all that. We will also ask that those who are counselors, those who are clinical psychologists, they should approach their school and offer the support systems to the students.
It's very important.
Mentoring them, talking to them, so that every time they are conscious of themselves, of what they want to become, or being told the purpose to which they were sent to.
Charles, I'll come to you shortly, but giving back is very important, and that's a great point Benis was raising. I understand Dr. George Amo is back with us. Doc, you're just landing off the point about social media and the others. Just build on that point for me, because now we're told by the sector minister and, you know, his deputies that at least the students are using mobile phones for something else on campus.
Hello?
Yes, I hope you can hear me.
Yes. Blessed, sorry you lost me.
Yes.
Could you please repeat?
No, I was just referring to the mobile phone policy and the fact that, you know, students are now getting access to mobile phones and using them for other things on campus.
Yes. For me, I think I associate myself closely with what Madam Judge said. Yes, I think that the mobile phone is not a bad thing, but we have to have a way of helping our children use them without inflicting on themselves, you know, this social crisis they are currently facing. I think we can do that. Our experts in technology should be able to program these laptops in such a way that they can use them without, you know, getting themselves into these problems. So it's good. I mean, this shouldn't be misconstrued to say the whole thing is bad. No, otherwise we also be making our children lose the confidence they require when they reach some places. So we should manage it very well.
Okay, I want to zoom into the cases that you're talking about. 6 cases in just the last week alone, and you are calling for police action.
Yes, so what we were asking the police to help do is to ensure security is given to our children as much as they give to adult programs. You know, when we are going for elections, you see how security is tightened all over the place. I'm not sure it would be out of place if we should give similar consideration to our children. They are very important in the equation of development for our country. So I would want to appeal to the IGP. The numbers are not enough, but when children are going for programs like this, I think it's important we offer them the security they require. And I also want to urge the police. I think every school shouldn't lack the presence of the police. Every school at every point in time, I think they should have. If they have 1 or 2. You know, rotating. I think it will be very helpful to bring the required sanity we want in the schools. And we shouldn't also feel shy to punish, you know, blessed, when we have to punish them. I think there should be a framework for punishment. Sometimes teachers also go overboard in trying to correct the children. So I think we should have the thresholds clearly defined. At what level would a classroom teacher punish a student? At what level should the head teacher punish a student? And at what measure? I think all these things should be clarified very well so that teachers could also punish within a particular agreed framework.
All right.
Then I don't know whether I'm permitted to say this before I go for, but you see, Blessed, the current danger I see from where I sit, the Sahelian issues are increasing. The issues of violent extremism and terrorism. And these jihadists, terrorists, violent extremists, what they do is they want to find places where there are already internal crises. They jump on those and they do their work. So when they find vulnerabilities like what is happening within our schools, it becomes an easy entry for them. So that is where I think all of us might be concerned and ensure our children do not give cause for this jihadists to come in.
Okay.
Very important.
Very important point there. And I appreciate that you engage elsewhere. In just a minute, to wrap up for me on this, you plan to engage stakeholders and even some of the students on harmonious living on campus. That's what you plan to do now?
Yes, my brother, blessed. We are doing that already, and it is giving us cause to intensify. 2 days ago, the board had a meeting, and that was one of the lead concern for the National Peace Council governing body, that these children are our best bet. They are the leaders of our country. Indeed, they are the beneficiary of peace for our country. And therefore, we have to do whatever we can. So we have instructed all our regional offices to start a massive campaign, in trying to, redress some of these emerging concerns. So that is what we are doing. And when you give us more opportunity, we can come around to share with you some of the things we are doing with the schools.
Always available for that. And I'm sure that in the course of the weeks to come, we'll explore that in a bit more detail. Dr. George Amoh, thanks for joining us, squeezing in some time, although on a national assignment, to speak to us on these very important issues. Just the aspect about the history on interco, we call them, inter-college competitions, sporting activities, is supposed to create a friendly environment. Why is it now degenerating into something else? Well,
it's very difficult to say why it is degenerating into something else. And again, it goes back to looking at how systematically the whole SHS system has resulted in a certain degeneration. Because again, you whittle down the kind of enforcement and the treatments that you have to give to children when they err and all of those things. And then it continues to give them a desire to do some of the things that they don't have to do. So we have a systematic breaking down of our system, and unless we are able to return to it. And I would say, without doubt, that all the schools are not the same. If you go back, we have 16 regions, go and do a sample. We have six severe cases. Now, if you plot all of that, you will see that there are certain things that are happening very well in schools. And for me, I believe that part of it is responsible to who is the head of the school, and that must be very clear. The kind of relationship that the teachers have with their heads to ensure that the children are guided, to ensure that things work in the schools. And again, the whole issue, and I'm glad Dr. Amoh talked about security. The school system has to have a security system. But currently when you go into the schools, all schools virtually do not have security men.
You don't see the watchmen in our schools.
You don't see them. You don't see watchmen. It's only the security gate, and then the whole school is left.
But they are there.
But how many are there?
These are people who are very famous on campus.
No, but they are not. In fact, go to all your schools. Except in schools where PTAs have willfully decided
to bring their own.
Bring their own and to protect their children.
So are you saying the ones that the schools recruit are just They're just whiling away time on campus?
No, they are not there. They are just not there. Find out. The security are not there. The ones that are in the schools you see are being paid by the PTA. You know, so there is this whole issue about recruitment around non-teaching, especially security people and other activities like cleaning and some of those things. That, many of these people have now lost out.
Usually, is it that GS doesn't provide for the recruitment of security on campus? What's usually?
No, it does.
Okay.
GS provides for security, for the recruitment of security personnel in schools. It's just that these days, for government financial problems, all of these dribbling the economy thing now has resulted in watering down of the recruitment of some of these people. So there are real gaps in terms of the security in the schools, and it has to be filled. It really has to be filled. And I like the point he said about the police, but I'll wait for the IGP to say whether that is possible or not possible.
Seriously waiting. You want to see what the outcome will be. Are you confident something will come out of it?
Well, I don't think something will come out with it because, I mean, the schools are seen as independent spaces and have their own management system, and especially including all the security, who are supposed to do the kind of security that now we want the police to do. Fine. For now, we can say that if the IGP thinks he has the men, when there is an interco going, you can deploy the district office or the municipal or metropolitan office can assign 2 or 3 policemen into the school system to see how the games are going. If they have opportunity to do that, that will be fine. But again, it takes away some of the authority and powers of the school head. You know, and I always talk about the head because I think that when I was in school, I was punished for writing an article which says that the fish stinks from the head. You know, and again, if there is bad planning in the school, it stinks from the head. You know, so the heads should be given that authority to be able to act. And I say again that every single individual who participated in this free-for-all fight, which had no basis at all. And I know children play such dangerous games. I mean, they go around, and do all these things that they are doing are like games to them, you know. But it is time for them to learn that they cannot play those games again, you know, in a circumstance. So that we can. So all those people should be identified and punished. You know, and I'm happy that I've said it already. The police CID person is in it, so that the parents will now begin to see that they should train their children to know when to do school things and when to do criminal things.
Does this critical point that Bernice raised about counseling on campus, I think initially the arrangement is that a teaching staff would be the one doing the counseling. But if we were to go by what you're saying, recruiting a non-teaching staff, then it will mean more money, Venice.
Yes.
Because we have to now do a special budget to bring all these people in.
Yeah, so like I said, it's something GS is piloting. But before we go into that, maybe let me help the IGP by saying that we have about 900 senior high schools in Ghana. So maybe he can consider it in his planning if it will be possible. But if GS also has to recruit security for the school, they should recruit professional securities, not retired old men who sit at the gates and will not have any skills.
But that's what students actually like.
Skills like and then all that. So if GS is providing security for the schools, then they should recruit professional security with some kind of skills to manage the situation in the school. So with the counseling, yes, GS has started piloting. So it is something they have to take it up. Yes, it means
because
more
I'm looking
money.
at the cost. You were just talking about the number of senior high schools we have. If that's 900, and we're going to be looking at recruiting an individual each into these schools, they would have to form a committee, as you were saying, per their guideline, right? That will come with some cost implications. Or we shouldn't even talk about the cost for now.
Yes, but we can still integrate it into the system. There are other non-teaching staff who can be given additional support to get the skills of counseling. because mostly the counselors we use, maybe once the person is a pastor's wife, the person is seen to be religious, and then all that, we tend to give that person responsibility as a counselor. But we can support other non-teaching staff to add on that responsibility by supporting them to get training on counseling or how to handle the issues of the children in the school. But for the cost, if that is what is going to save the number of children that we have, it is worth it, and it should be considered.
After all, we are running free SHS. We should be able to bring in more people to support that.
Maybe we'll have another platform to discuss the allocation of the GET funds that has been allocated to basic school,
and
senior.
what's going on and all
yes,
that.
That is another discussion.
Probably at the tail end, I'll ask a few questions on that. But how did we miss that opportunity that we've not recruited people to be doing counseling on campuses, even as of now? I think we used to leave that to teaching staff. Is it that the teachers can't do proper counseling? When they are training college, that is not giving us part of the training, is it?
Well, at the senior high school level, we have teachers who have been trained. In fact, everybody who goes through the education program has some idea of guidance and counseling. And there are some people who then opt to do guidance and counseling. So when the GES is looking for people to do guidance and counseling, they go for some of these experts, who are trained teachers, who have the teaching skills, and equally have the knowledge of guidance and counseling. So that has existed in the schools. But I think that their roles are being commingled with teaching, and so it literally takes away some of the strength that they have to focus on the counseling activities. And that is the part of the thing that Bernice is talking about. The GES has now decided that, okay, fine. We would have to get somebody who would be dedicated to that particular role and work with a team of teachers who already have those experiences and see how they can help to do this. So the cost element will probably come down and a whole lot of things.
But it's also because of how we frame counseling in our schools, and some of the issues that maybe a student will bring to a teacher will be dismissed on a lighter note sometimes. That, okay, you have to be strong. This is
no,
you have to be accustomed to that.
In a counseling program, those things are very different. The conversation is very different with the children, and especially those who are identified as having challenges in terms of the school activities and some of them. And I know there are some schools that have added counseling activities to the misdemeanors that the students commit in school, and they put them on a counseling program. The moment you are identified as having committed a certain offense, they add you to a counseling program quickly and give you a certain internal punishment, and then you report always to the senior officer, to the counseling people, and then when you miss one step, then they ask your parents to come and take you and go and stay home a bit and do the parental guidance and counseling at that end, because then you become a mouthful for the school. So it's happening in the school system, all right. But again, it needs a lot of effort. And if teachers are teaching, what we call, is it 24/365? Then they have very little time to be able to do some of these side issues, which are equally very important in helping the children to be formed properly.
Yeah, but Bernice, is the whole idea of inter-college competitions not outmoded now? Just allow the students to do their own sporting within the schools, and that could cut the problem in by half. I don't know. I don't know if that will solve the problem.
Oh, all right. I can just recall how it used to be when we were in school.
Right.
That is the time you would also have the opportunity to go out of the boarding house, at least even exploring the environment where your school is. Otherwise, you are taken from home, you enter the school, you will not come out until vacation or midterm or something. So it was also an opportunity for students to at least explore the regions or the town where their school is. So I don't think it should be cancelled. I'm sure that all the sports stars we had, the great footballers we had, all started from this intercore, picking them at a certain point. So I don't think it's beyond us to put the system in place for it to happen, but ensuring that it doesn't turn into what we are seeing now. Yeah,
I think that will be a good way out of this, or a more regulated intercore now.
Yeah, I'm just saying a more regulated intercore, and you know, we literally lessen the competitive nature. I don't know what I'm saying, what is right, but I mean, we have the competition in us,
yes,
you know, but we give it a different spirit. You know, that we were doing it in our time. You know, I went to a school where, you know, we had serious runners. I mean, when you go into the zone, everybody knows. Oh, you mention this guy's name, everybody knows him, and all of that. I mean, and you give them fans, and they become real celebrities even within the zone. And then once we go into a super zone, so they carry their celebrity along and along. I mean, our children should begin to see that. Yeah. You know, and not play some of these risky games whenever they come together and think that there's an opportunity to misbehave. Yeah. Once a student misbehaves during an intercore, the person must be lifted and shown the right thing to do.
Okay, let's spend the last few minutes looking at bigger issues within the education space as well. The president will have his opportunity to address us, address the country, and by extension Parliament as well, on how the country is faring. Education will not be left out. You think all is well now?
Well, I don't think all is well. I think that we need a little explanation from the president in terms of the resetting agenda. Well, not the resetting agenda is big, but the resetting in education. Yeah, right. We need some clarity because I think we have not moved very fast on that reset thing, and there's a need to, I don't know how he will do it, we get the people to sit down and properly plot it. And I thought the forum...
What question is on your mind now?
Oh, the question on my mind is actually trying to fix all the different challenges that emerged and need solution. For example, administration in schools, for example, the whole issue of discipline, violence, and all of that. How do you deal with that? The question of even appointment of heads. Yeah. I mean, were they just, do you break the norm by just picking somebody who is somebody partisan and then say that, oh, because you are from my party, I'm putting you as headmaster. I mean, no, you don't do that. You know, so there's a need to begin to look at some of those things. Put the right people in the right places. In education, you can't play games with putting wrong people in wrong places. And that creates a lot of problems for the education system going forward, and eventually comes to affect.
And Benis was just raising an issue, for instance, about allocations.
Yes. So this one, I don't know if I should say I am pleading or...
An appeal to government to deal with.
Yeah, you know, this violence. This week we've been in training teachers on the socio-emotional learning of children right from the kindergarten. When we are able to address the socio-emotional needs of the children as they grow up, they won't grow up to become violent as we are seeing. So the foundation is very key. Look at the number of public schools we have in Ghana, and you give them just 9% of 9.6 billion Ghana cedis. We think it's on the lower side. It's something we have advocated for a long time. And this one, we are pleading with this government that by the time they leave office, there should be a turnaround in the basic school.
The amount is not enough?
It is not enough. If you look at the infrastructure gap at the basic school level, it's so wide. We have a lot of primary schools without junior high schools. Okay. Just a desk for students to sit on is a challenge. For a teacher to teach is a challenge. Yeah. And then the deployment gap between the urban and the rural areas. So the basic school still needs a lot of attention. So I will call on this current government and the president for that matter, please, they should relook at basic education.
If we're looking at increasing the percentage or maybe the allocation, is there an ideal estimate that you're looking at? Beyond the 9?
Yeah, you see, there was one thing we were talking over with Get Fund, that we should have the Get Fund uncapped. We were very happy and we thank the government for uncapping the Get Fund Yes, but our hope was that most of the funds will be channeled to the basic school. The evidence is clear. We all see what is happening in the our public schools. Blessed, you would not take your child to any public school in Ghana. Are we saying that because of the state in which they are now? So are we saying that those children doesn't deserve better than their other children? You go to other schools, public school, you see the state of the school. But at the end of the day, this same child is writing BEC with a child that is in Akosombo International and all the other schools, Morning Star and then all that. It is not fair. We are not being fair to them. We are saying it. You go to other countries, you go to their public school, and you see that the standard is there. So we are still pleading they should do something about the basic school. Yeah. It is not too good.
Education should be a public good.
Yeah, education is always a public good, and it's just unfortunate that we have dampened that perspective of education. So I think it still behooves the government to begin to think about ways it can spur up the public education. I'm happy the president confessed that he's now found the solution to the problem. The problem is about our basic education. He said it himself, and we are happy that he has confessed to it. And so we think that these mismatches in terms of looking at, senior secondary school agenda, no. The agenda at the basic level has not finished. And so it is undermining the new agenda that we are creating at the senior high school level. And there's a time for us to, again, let me borrow the word, reset it in a manner that will ensure that there's a certain balance in terms of how education should.
You know what? Once the yes, Benis. Yes.
Yeah, let me add one more. Now we are saying that our basic school is free, but it is not free. I have my children in a public school now, and I have to buy books almost 3,000 Ghana cedis for 2 children. Right. So it is not free. But we are saying it should be free compulsory. So it is an aspect that we have to go back and look at it. Students have to, the learners would have to sometimes buy chalk, they have to buy markers, they have to, or the parents would have to produce these TLMs before the school can function properly. They should please re-look at it for us.
Grateful to Charles and Benis for joining us for this conversation. There's just a clear message here that there's a lot more in education that we need to explore. So once the president is done, we'll be back here to have that conversation again. Also grateful to the National Peace Council, Dr. George Amo joining us earlier here on UPfront. I am Blessed Sogah. Until then, log on to myjoyonline.com. Lots of stories there for you. Thanks for watching. We'll talk education soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.